Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughened him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
Is the next search on February 28, 2020, 7:44 p.m. How does the FBI find people? And people's misspelled P-E-O-O-P-L-E. Did the defendant find out how the FBI finds people in this case? Oh, she found out.
Welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. We need to fade out this music here just a little bit because we have... There's the fader, the right fader. Whew. Hit the right one there. We're going to close that one out just a bit. All right, thank you. We have something else to tell you about because in the case of New Hampshire versus Jason Levesque, About 8 hours of deliberation by my clock, and the jury in the case of New Hampshire versus Jason Levesque has returned a verdict. They had a question just a short while ago. They asked the judge. No, they told the judge. They said, "Hey, we need to go at 3 o'clock today. One of us cannot stay late to deliberate, so we'll be done at 3." We took that as a sign as they would not be done today, but no, they went back to deliberating. And have reached a verdict now, which means all jurors have agreed on one or the other options. Either he's guilty or not guilty. This is a case where Jason Levesque, a snowplow driver in New Hampshire, was out plowing snow. At the end of his shift, after staying up for 40 hours plowing snow next to his neighbor's house, his neighbor did not want him to push the snow in front of his yard. And as he was plowing, locking the hubs, the neighbor came out and talked to him. We only have Jason Levesque's version of that events, but in that version of his events, he says that he was threatened by his neighbor. And in those 11 seconds, something went south. Jason pulled his firearm and shot his neighbor once in the face. His neighbor fell to the ground and shot him 5 more times. He's now in court claiming it was self-defense. And a jury of 12 people will decide if it was in fact justified. His neighbor lived, but did not testify in court. We're going to see how this flushes out. A lot of noise from court here. You can see people are being gathered. We thought it would be Monday, where we had a verdict, but not so. We're seeing motion, cameras in motion. You can hear people in the courtroom. No birthday verdict music for me, apparently. There's definitely a possibility of not guilty. That is one of the options. That the jury did not return an instant verdict. So it's very possible they had to think this one over. They had people on both sides of the thought process there. Five shots might have been a bit overkill. Well, attempted overkill, right? That's the miracle of this story is the defendant lived. Or the victim lived. Kyle Violet was his name. Was going to be a witness for the state in this trial, but later in the trial, I think it was a week ago today, it was revealed at the end of the day that he would not be testifying, that he's not in a mental state where he can testify. It would be too traumatic for him. The defense had asked for a mistrial on that motion, saying that they would have run everything differently had they known the victim was not going to testify. They would have an absent victim. The judge turned down that motion for a mistrial on those counts, on that reason. But, welcome back to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Thank you all for being here. We got a surprise. I've not yet taken down my studio. I haven't taken it apart. All the lights are running, everything. I have not even left my chair. I've been trying to catch up on some other work. We had some YouTube running in the background, and it's still here. I didn't even get lunch yet. So, big shout out to those who reached out to me on the burner phone. I've got a whole bunch of text messages and phone calls as well from several of you. Thank you. About the jury question, about the verdict being in. Josh, Amber, got calls from both of you as well. Appreciate that. Thanks for keeping me on my toes. If it's a guilty sentence, will they sentence him today? Probably have a pre-sentence screening. Pre-sentence investigation, a PSI. How many unread text notifications do I have? I don't know if it'll count them for me. It just says 99 plus. I'm not sure why it doesn't go higher than that. Was I able? I had the ability to, but I had not yet started. Courtroom sounds like a arena flea market. Looks a bit like that as well. The defendant's not there yet. We've probably got a few minutes before this happens. Usually the court will make allowances to give time for family members and other interested parties. So, hey, Mrs. R.A., how's the library trip? We've got a verdict in the New Hampshire case, the snowplow case. We don't know. We're waiting for it right now. It's just going to be a moment. I guess Master Ayden was right. If I go to lunch, they'll have a verdict. It worked. Doesn't go over 99 because you're supposed to stay under 99, says Tomoto Troy. Did court come back for a jury question? Not that we got to see, but the jury did announce to the judge that one of them was leaving at 3. And they wouldn't be able to deliberate longer than that. Have we heard how Dad is? We've heard that he's seen medical treatment and is doing fine. He's received medical treatment and is doing fine. I don't know what the exact issue was. On the music again. You missed the music. You're going to have to rewind. The rule is we only play it once per trial, once per verdict. Laura, you joined at a great time. We're here just for the verdict. Warrior Queen says I'm straight up guilty on this one. When we did the poll in chat, 76% of us came back with guilty. 12% came back not guilty. 11% wanted to know if it was snowing. Here we go. We've got walking in now is the defense team with the defendant himself, bailiffs in suits to follow. That's one person needs to be here for the verdict. I think the state may already be present. The other bailiff goes to notify the judge that everybody is here. Who required medical attention at the beginning of the defense closing, which defense goes first in New Hampshire for closings. At the beginning of the defense closing, about 5 or 6 minutes into it, Jason Levesque's dad had a medical emergency in the courtroom and apparently collapsed. Was taken out by the ambulance to the hospital. The court then went on break for about 10 minutes. Here we go. The judge is coming in now.
Thank you all. You may be seated. Are we ready to bring the jury out? We are. Before we do that, I would just like to say a few words to the folks in the gallery. In a few minutes, we're going to be receiving the jury's verdict. I just want to remind you about the importance of the decorum of the proceedings and that you're to refrain from any outbursts or emotional responses whichever way the verdict turns out. So thank you. And with that, let's bring out the jury, please.
Greeners, congratulations. You're first in chat. That means you own the internet for the weekend. So we're not going live again after this one. Judges cautions the gallery.
Please make sure all your phones are on silent.
Doesn't want any outbursts.
All rise, jury entering.
You may be seated. Madam Clerk, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Foreperson, could you please stand? Thank you, sir. As to the first charge ID, 228154C, which charges Jason Levesque with the offense of attempted murder, do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
And the verdict is not guilty. All members of the jury, so say you all? Yes. Yes. Attorney Didelhoff, would you like the jury poll?
No.
And as to the second charge ID 2228155C, which charges Jason Levesque with the offense of first-degree assault, do you find the defendant guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
And the verdict is guilty on first-degree assault. So say you all members of the jury.
Wow.
Attorney Sisti, would you like the jury poll? Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes your official jury service. At this point, I would ask you if you wouldn't mind staying for a few minutes in the jury room afterwards. If you have time, I'd like to come back and just have a few words with you afterwards, so I'll be with you shortly. Can you please ask the jury to be removed, or have the jury removed?
Please rise.
This is amazing.
Oh, you can all.
Unanimously found not guilty of attempted murder, but on the second charge of first-degree assault, found him guilty. That assault was with a firearm. The jury found that he was not trying to kill him. 5 shots, and he was not trying to kill him. That's remarkable. As I said, New Hampshire, live free or die.
Is there anything further we need to discuss at this point?
Your Honor, with the attempted murder case resulting in an acquittal, we will ask the court to schedule a bail hearing so that we may be out on bail pending sentencing. They ask that it be sentenced, that we have that bail hearing within 10 days, first or second week of April.
Counsel, do you have a position on that?
Yeah, I accept that it's a material change of circumstances, and I don't object to the bail hearing, but certainly doesn't make change of position.
I think that makes sense. I mean, you're aware of what the standard is at this point, and that this court has to apply, and so I will give you that hearing. So, Madam Clerk, do you have a date for when we can schedule a bail hearing?
Probably April 4th, if that works for everyone.
The 4th of April, I think, would work. That would be the best I can do the next week on the trial in Manchester.
We could do 11:30 if that works for everyone.
Thank you.
Very good. Very good. Thank you all. Well tried case.
He is taken back into custody. He is still guilty. He's still in custody. They've scheduled a bail hearing. But not guilty on attempted murder. They're holding him here right now to wait to allow the other side to depart, other family members. For safety reasons, you don't want everyone leaving at the same time. Obviously, one half of the courtroom very disappointed in this outcome. The result of a conviction just for first-degree assault is not much. Is not much when you thought you were going to get a conviction for attempted murder. That is unbelievable. I'm just checking right now. I want to see exactly what the penalty is for first-degree assault. What the options are. Let's see. New Hampshire. Let's see. The standard penalty for a Class A felony, it includes up to 15 years in prison and a fine of up to $4,000. However, if the assault involves the use of a firearm, the maximum prison term can increase to 20 years. There are also situations where penalties can be enhanced. For example, if the assault results in a serious bodily injury to a child under 13, not the case here, the sentence can escalate to 25. Additionally, extended terms of imprisonment up to 30 years or more may apply in cases involving hate crimes, assaults on law enforcement, or emergency personnel. None of those apply. Or if the defendant has prior felony convictions. I don't think he does. Penalties depend on the specifics of the case, such as nature of the injury, weapon used, and the victim's status. For precise details tailored to a specific situation, consulting a legal professional would be necessary. Wow. That was an AI answer for you, and I even read the disclaimer at the end. So still a possible 20-year sentence for a conviction for assault, and suddenly we are all eating crow. It was the right thing. We were thinking, why didn't he take a plea deal when the evidence was stacked against him like it appeared to be? It happened on camera. We hear the shots in the quick succession. The victim had turned away from him, was crawling away when he was shot the last 5 times. And the jury comes back with guilty only on the assault charge, not guilty on attempted murder. That is, wow. Like we said, New Hampshire, live free or die. They focused on the live free part. And, hey, how's it going, guys? Mrs. R.A. is sitting right down here enjoying the show, and my son's somewhere over there. Possible 20 years. Possible 20 years. The motion that the defense made right at the end was because the situation has changed. He's no longer stealing my printer. Okay, because he's no longer being held pending an attempted murder charge. The penalty is different, and with this being a lighter charge, still serious, but a lighter charge, still a felony. They said we'd ask you, Judge, to have a bail hearing, a bond hearing. Revisit the situation where now there's not something huge like attempted murder hanging over his head. We think he should be able to get out on bond pending the sentencing for the assault. And so there's a good chance that before he serves his time, which will probably include more than time served, he's going to have at least some measure of freedom, and might be out for that reason. So they split the baby, possibly. I wonder if the jury's going to talk. That's remarkable. If he behaves, parole. I don't know the parole situation, how much you'd have to serve before that qualifies, but definitely it's very likely that he won't serve the full, even if he was given the 20-year sentence, that he wouldn't serve the full time. How much has he been incarcerated? Since it happened, basically. He's been incarcerated since a couple of years, right? Is that right? I think two or 3 years. He'll be out in 5, says Peter. I think it would have been different had the victim testified. Yes, Emily. I hope that the bunny and the dad collapsing in court during closing statements didn't sway the jury. I hope that was not something that they considered and took sympathy on him for. Obviously, the naysayers might look at that and say that was scripted. That's awfully convenient for that to happen right then for him. And I guess we'll never know on that front. But I hope that wasn't an issue that we might start seeing more bunnies in court now. Does the judge decide the time he will serve? Yes, he does. This happened last year in April. Okay, so 1 year. I'm sorry, for some reason I was thinking it was 2. He's been in custody since his arrest on April 8th, so just under 1 year served to be knocked off the sentence for time served. Carter says, at the end of the day, Jason was minding his own business and Kyle started it. Not saying he deserves 6 shots, but come on, he's not an incident victim. I would say that Kyle was to blame for getting shot in the jaw, that it was Kyle's fault. Sorry, that was a little slip of the tongue. That Kyle approaching him and confronting him, even if what he said was not exactly as cursive and flamboyant as the way that Jason told it. That confrontation that we saw on video, that was enough that I think that a reasonable jury could conclude that was justified for the first shot. It's the other 5 when he was crawling away after that pause, and we heard it was bang, 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 bang. That pause, that is time to stop. That's time to think. That's time to reassess the situation. And what was happening then was Kyle was crawling back towards his house, his own house, exactly the way he had come. I am surprised by the verdict, but a bold statement, possibly here where the jury says, yeah, you don't mess with someone, or you find out, and maybe that's what they're saying here. You found out, but he crossed the line and let him find out. Can we pin the verdict for people coming in? Yeah, you missed it. It's over. We're going to delete the live stream. You'll never know. No, just kidding. The jury found him on the 2 charges. The first charge was attempted murder, not guilty. Massive wave of relief comes over Jason when that comes in. And then on the second verdict, or the second charge of first-degree assault, they found him guilty, which still is a very serious crime and carries up to a 20-year sentence, possibly 25, depends on how they look at the aggravating factors with the firearm being involved. 14 tons of beef sticks were recalled after pieces of metal found in snack. Greeners, why you But was it Slim Jims? Was it Slim Jims? Miss Zure, how are you doing?
Good. I am curious here if we are seeing a shift. I don't have any earphones on. Am I on?
Yeah, you're on. We can hear you.
Okay.
That's better.
Okay, thanks. It just feels to me like for so long in you doing this, everybody's guilty. People that I think are guilty. People I think are not guilty are found guilty. Everybody's found guilty. And now we've had at least 2 cases where I look at it and I'm like, really? Not guilty? That's interesting. I feel like, yes, they are, but...
You weren't sure if that was really an option anymore.
Yeah. I wonder if we're seeing a shift in society to start saying, man, we can't be finding everybody guilty all the time. I don't know. 2 decisions maybe doesn't make a pattern. I don't know. But certainly it's different from what has been happening recently. Almost everybody's been found guilty for everything. And there's just been a couple that are coming back not guilty. I'm not sure what that says about society. Have we lost our ability to judge, or are we swinging back to something that's more reasonable?
Or are prosecutors just getting better and only charging cases where people are guilty?
I don't buy that.
It's an option. You have to look at all the possibilities here.
Yeah, but I don't buy that one.
Wow. We did mention at the very end that New Hampshire has a different mindset that differs from a lot of the states that surround it. Live free or die means something to New Hampshireonians. What is that word? What's a New Hampshire person?
There's no way that's what that is.
New Hampshireites?
New Hampshireans.
New Hampshireans?
I don't know.
Somebody help us in New Hampshire. What's the word? New Hampshireites. It's a New Hampshireite. Hey, second guess.
That was good.
Hammies. They're just
hammies.
Hammies. It means something to them. It does. There's a level of, we value freedom, personal freedom. We value personal freedom in this state, and that's it's reflected in the gun laws. It's reflected even in the self-defense laws. They're written a little bit different in New Hampshire and allow you to look at the entire situation. We heard this in the defense closings. You're allowed to look at the totality of the situation, what went before and everything else, and weigh that.
Well, and I think that should be in everything. I feel like this circumscribing of information to the point where really the decision has been made for you. You're just the rubber stamp. Yeah, we call you a jury, but we've told you what to think. We've told you what your options are. That's, this is it, basically. You don't really get a choice. I think every jury should be able to take in a lot of information and make good decisions based on that. Or bad ones.
Yeah, I was on the other side on this one. I was firmly on the guilty side. And I've told you, I feel that way because of the training that I went to when I decided I wanted to carry a concealed weapon. And the classes and training and the law that I studied, had I been in that situation, I would be convinced that I'd be found guilty because my understanding of the law in the state that I was in, that would not be permitted. But New Hampshire is a little bit different. And that the whole reason that he did not start this is probably the weighed heavily on the jury's mind, that the defendant did not pick this fight. It was somebody else came up to him and his family members. His daughter was there in the car with him, and family members. His parents were in the house, and if that threat happened like it did, and the state conceded it, even though it didn't happen on audio, we don't have any recording of him saying, "I'm going to kill you and your family," with all the expletives. We counted 74 of them in this trial. We didn't hear that. But to me, that story that the state conceded said, yeah, he did. He said those things. He said some terrible things, walked up to him and made those threats, but it was conditional. The state surrendered that point. Even then, defense said all this happened in 11 seconds. The shots, the bam, 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 bam.
Yeah.
Those shots and the time it took for those, and the 4 or 5 times defense said that this threat was made, including the walking forward, walking back. You don't think so? Everything. It doesn't fit in the time frame. Defense gave us so many events that could not fit in the time where they occurred. I thought for sure the jury would say, I'm not buying that. I'm not buying the story of what he said. Yeah, there was a confrontation of some point, and I guess that was enough for the jury to say, and you're justified.
Okay, so then is there any situation where, given the information that you have, well, maybe that's a bad way of asking that question. Is there any way that you would vote not guilty in this? Is there any change that would be made that you're like, yeah?
Yeah, if you had fired one shot him in the face, the first shot, if that was it. And that our understanding is that was the first shot. Defense put forward the idea that they didn't know which shot was the first one, but because he had 5 in the backside and 1 in the face, we're pretty sure that, the order it went. If there was just one shot, I would have said not guilty, because I can't get past the reasonable doubt that that he felt threatened, and he was justified in defending himself. That's it.
Okay.
What are you doing for my birthday on Monday?
Oh my gosh. I'm planning on chat somehow picking up the slack and making it amazing.
There you go, guys.
I'm sorry.
The burden's been dumped on you.
I'm so bad. Have you guys ever taken the love languages quiz? I'm sorry.
I'm just crying. Another birthday, no celebration. That's all.
Okay, I took the love languages thing, and I get an absolute 0.
Can we see you? I'll switch mics with you.
I'm so comfortable here. Okay, I get an absolute 0 on gifts given. Like 0. Not just, hey, that's your lowest thing. I value it not at all. And so I have a really hard time giving gifts to other people. I'm like, why do you care about this? It doesn't make sense to me.
Just order some random cables.
I know. I thought about that. I was like, how about an HDMI? You're always needing another HDMI cable.
HDMI is so yesterday.
Oh.
HDMI is...
Okay.
Yeah. That's... It's a good time. Wow. Surprise verdict. Easy decision. Amazon gift cards. There you go. This was a surprise verdict. I had just gotten off the phone with Josh after talking about the verdict and saying, look, if they're breaking at 3, we've got less than 2 hours. Yeah, there's no way they're anywhere near reaching a verdict here. So I was ready to start unplugging everything and getting ready for the gig tonight. And then the phone blew up, and and we've got a surprise verdict with a surprise decision. I mean, it's always a surprise, whatever the jury decides. But sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong. In this one, I was wrong. But I respect the decision of the jury. I think I love that states are different, that philosophies in different areas are different. I think if anything, it just solidifies that belief and that the system we have, the judicial system, that has a jury of your peers, not from some other place, not from some other state or some other county, but from somebody from where you are, who thinks and is raised and believes similar sort of ideas that you do. Okay, a random sampling of those people. I think it's incredible. I see you're wearing a matching shirt now. We wore the. You don't have the red Solo cup, but we've got the same same color.
That's really interesting that you say that.
Here, trade me mics. Come over here.
Oh, sorry. It's interesting that you say that because I've been.
What did you do to this?
Sorry, I sort of twisted it around.
I think you broke it.
Sorry. Okay, so maybe I know what to do for your birthday.
For my birthday, I need a new mic.
That so much time and effort was put in the Constitutional Convention to try to figure out how to be a republic how to be a democratic republic when you are dealing with such a large area, a large group of people. And this was one of the things that they factored in. They were like, we'll keep it small in certain ways. We will have a representative for a small area. We will have judges for a small area, that we can grow and become an enormous country. But as far as the freedoms that are really best defended in a small unit, we're going to maintain those in a small area. So it is interesting to see them, to see that being a very active part of maintaining our freedoms.
Yeah. What she said. It's Friday. I can't get into a philosophical discussion. I'm ready for the weekend. I am so ready for the weekend.
Well, that's a little philosophy. That's mostly history.
A lot of people saying, I think they split the baby, like a compromise verdict. We may never know. Man.
Well, if they split the baby, that meant that a fair proportion of them felt like he wasn't guilty of anything.
Yeah, you would have had people on both sides. Melissa Przlecki says, can the state appeal? No.
No, that's another one of our protections.
Yeah, the double jeopardy. You can't get tried for the same thing twice. And just because the state lost the first time, they don't get another crack at the apple. The jury came back and said not guilty.
Another crack at the apple?
Another bite at the apple. Crack at the ball? What is it?
I don't think that's a thing.
Call from
Bap.
Bap, you're back.
Hey. Yeah. I didn't expect the verdict to come back today. I thought they were going to do a Monday verdict, given the whole 3 p.m. thing. But, yeah, this was an interesting verdict. I feel like on some level, I think I've said this before, I think on some level, a jury is going to want a victim who comes across as a victim, and doesn't have any sort of culpability in what happened. And this particular victim was the initial aggressor in the situation. So I'm not necessarily surprised.
Do you think it would have been a different result had he gotten up and testified? Had Kyle taken the stand and maybe shown some of his, his scars on his face from the shot? Talked a little bit about what it was like in that situation, maybe even given a different rendition of how the exchange went at that snowplow?
That absolutely could have changed things, but the PTSD thing is valid also. I couldn't imagine after going through that type of ordeal having to see the person who did that to you in a courtroom. So, but yeah, it could have definitely changed the trajectory of things. The only person who they got to hear from was the actual, they only got to hear the defendant's side. So yeah, it could have changed things. It could have made him more sympathetic.
Yeah, it's interesting because in this verdict, the jury has, in a way, sentenced Kyle to responsibility for that part of that shooting.
Exactly. That's what I mean. They want somebody with clean hands, and they're like, your hands aren't clean based on what I heard. So you get this portion of things, he gets this portion. Have a good day.
I gotta go.
Right.
Some people have asked that there may be some civil action. Obviously, the assault that took place afterwards that he was found guilty of, that's going to be somewhere in those 5 shots after the fact, did cause harm to the victim. So there could definitely be a civil suit where Kyle sues for monetary damages, for the loss of the abilities that he had before, for his pain, suffering. For
I can't even imagine the medical cost.
Oh, it's huge. He's still going through. The recovery process is a lengthy one, and there are some things he'll never get back. So
there's something interesting that you just said there, which may be completely accurate, that you're assuming that they said, well, the first shot was okay, but then the assault was on the last 5 shots. But what if they just said, well, that was an assault, shooting somebody. First shot, 6th shot, whatever, doesn't matter. That was all an assault, and it was nothing more than assault because of who started it and how that went down.
I imagine you're right. I'm not sure if the assault can be parsed out from the first shot. I don't think you can separate that. Although,
I mean, maybe they did. Maybe they said the first shot, that's perfect self-defense. The last ones, that's assault. But maybe they just also said, well, there's a crime here. It's assault.
Maybe all of the self-defense was authorized, but not the level. No, if it's authorized, he couldn't be found guilty of it. He has to be, for self-defense, it has to be authorized. It has to be legal to do it. So one shot at least had to be legal. So the jury has basically said that at least one shot was legal. Interesting idea.
Yeah.
I think it was that they felt like that first shot was justified as self-defense because of the way that the victim presented himself, or the way that he acted that day. And then the second, the last 5 shots were not because he was trying to crawl away for his dear life. So I guess, and I think that on a large level it was mostly because they don't feel like the victim was blameless. They feel like he played a large part of what happened to him. So it is what it is.
And what do you think about that? Do you think that's the right thing to do?
Not so legally, no. But you're dealing with the jury of humans, right?
Right.
And you're dealing with the human situation, so it's going to happen. Yeah. There's going to be some level of, I'm trying to come up with the word for it. But you put yourself into these verdicts and these decisions, and it happens. The same thing, in my opinion, that happened with the young guy. I don't remember his name, who unalived his mother. Mm-hmm. They assigned a large level of blame to her, and were basically like, because she's not blameless because him, because she was X, Y, and Z type of person. We can see why it led to this particular action. So, yeah.
Bap, thank you very much.
I feel like I'm rambling.
Oh, you're good. I appreciate the call. It's good to talk to you twice in one day. I'll count this as, this is journal entry day for me. So thank you very much. Appreciate the call.
Bye, y'all.
We'll see you. Bye.
That's so fascinating to me, just watching society shift a little bit and start looking at things slightly different. Or maybe not. Maybe they're not shifting. Maybe this is just a one-off or two-off. I don't know.
Yeah. Kenny Peterson, member for 18 months, says best channel mods and chat. Thanks, Scott. Hoping you have a great upcoming birthday. Mine was on Tuesday. Kenny, happy birthday on Tuesday.
What did your wife do? Asking for a friend.
She's send ideas. Send ideas to homeschooling ground zero.
More ground zero than homeschooling right now.
Luna C. OG, 22 months. I picked a great day to pop in. You sure did. Pantuflay, in other news, my courtroom is back. Also 22 months. Thank you very much for your support. My burner phone is still going off. People telling me that the verdict is in. Yes, I just got a text about a mailing address. I can give it to you here.
Is it your mailing address? Oh, it probably is. And you're just giving it out?
P.O. Box.
Oh, good.
775.
So you guys want to know the subject that we talk about most often than any other when it comes to Scott's job? Stop outing us.
It's a fun little what is it? Teeter-totter, a balance between.
It's like a sledgehammer. That's what.
Yeah, between
it's like.
living on social media 8 hours a day and being a very private family. So it's always fun. All right, with that, I think because we played the intro music so much today, I think we have to play some other music. There's got to be. Should we end with a different song? There's the P.O. Box. Oh.
Okay, can I like re-wrap it and re-gift it?
Hang on. Do you want a different song? Which one do you want?
I don't know. No, she was just saying she sent a gift. I don't even know if it was she. I didn't see who that was. Somebody said they're sending a gift. I'm like, well, can I give it to
someone
Scott?
was sending me a card, and they wanted
Nice.
the address.
They probably just signed their name to it, though, so awesome. I couldn't.
I'm super excited.
I know,
they
but
probably
I couldn't
already wrote.
Claim it.
And it's stuff you wouldn't want. It's like, thanks for having the best channel on YouTube, things like that.
That would be sweet. It was like, Scott, I love your channel.
I found you from Runkle. That's what it will say. I found you from Runkle. Love, Mrs. R.A. So, we're going to do Grey's the
I'm one of the OGs. Almost. Only 19 months.
Amy Manti, another OG. 23 months. Next month, you get a brand new courthouse. You guys, thank you very much. It's been a crazy day. Now we're just down to one trial, and that's going to be North Dakota. That's going to be coming back on Monday. Monday or possibly Tuesday morning, the state is going to rest in that trial. So it's moving right along. This is a real whodunit. It's got some hints about corruption in the police force. Definitely some problems with the investigation. And it's always interesting when a prosecution has been brought about because of a podcast. And in this one it was. So that's going to be awesome. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I've seen a couple votes for Gray is the new green, so we're going to do that with right now if I can get the audio to work right. Let me just check it and just make sure I put it in the right place. Where's my mouse? It's gone. It's missing.
I don't know anything about that. What podcast brought it about?
Cold Justice.
And they said, here's the crime, here's the situation. You really ought to investigate it.
It was an 18-year-old crime, cold case. Most of the investigators had retired, and the case just never was solved. And they dug into it again. And it seems like a couple of the key witnesses that we're hearing now are friends of the defendant who say that, well, she was drunk at a party, she admitted to the crime. Both of them say they called the police and told them back in 2008, but there's no record of them calling the police. So
were they also drunk?
Yeah, it was a party. Well, so
I mean, the question is, what makes the record? Does a human make the record?
Humans do. There's also, there's allegations. There is some investigation to police officers of misconduct in this area. They've just had some, like a changing of the guard, so to speak, for, interesting reasons. Allegations that evidence was deleted or thrown away or mishandled. Oh, it's all in there. It's all wrapped up in there. And that, of course, the judge is trying to get all that to not come in.
Well, and that's an absolute nightmare, because if that's the case, the people who ought to be on trial are the ones who are actually the prosecutors, right?
Say that again?
What are you doing? If the prosecutors are the ones, the investigators, the detectives, if they're the ones who did something corrupt, then it's all skittywampus, because they're the ones here pointing the finger and saying, no, it's the defendant. And the defendant's like, no, it's you. But the way the court system is set up, it's all you can do is defend yourself. You can't say, nuh-uh, that's on you.
Right. Can't. But they're doing what they can. It's going to be a circumstantial evidence case. There's no smoking gun here. But it's going to be interesting. Okay, we're going to wrap up here, you guys. Tonight, when you go home, please hug the people you love. Smile at someone to make it the day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again Monday morning with North Dakota versus Nichole Rice. And we're going to go out with a new song. Well, it's an old one.
In the land of pixels, here we meet. Gray's the color of our simple seats. No flashy lights, no fancy scheme. It's low-key love in a cyber dream. Slow mode life, we're taking it easy. Calm in the chat, everything looks breezy. No golden throne, no crown on screen, yet still I feel like royalty unseen. Gray is the new green, don't you know? In the digital glow, we take it slow. No need for emojis or special code. We're riding high on this mellow road.
It's bigger than you. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than all of us.
Gifted green lights up the scene.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
Happy birthday. You look good.
To a world unseen.
Shame on you, sir.
But here in gray, we find our creed. No extra flair, just what we need. No temp seats, no quick retreats, just hanging out in these cyber streets. Gray dust clouds, our silent beam, a hidden treasure in the live stream. Gray is the new green, don't you know? In the digital glow, we take it slow. No need for emojis or special code. We're riding high on this mellow road.
It's a mellow song to go out on. But hope you all have a fabulous weekend. I'm looking forward to my birthday on Monday and whatever Mrs. R.A. has planned for me. You guys have a good weekend. We'll see you in the morning on Monday. Bye-bye.